Okay. This is my story as an ex-JW. I decided to make this story and I told myself on the first 1 year anniversary I would make a video because your videos are what helped me out from this community. And I want to thank each one of you that had the courage to make a video because you helped me, you helped somebody else, then you know. Um, my story start in Haiti. I was raised in Haiti. My family was always going to the meetings. So they, like, if there were a church to go to, the Kingdom Hall would be it. We don't go anywhere else. No church. Um, so my grandparents were witnesses. My grandpa got baptized, but they weren't very active witnesses. And um, they always took me to the meeting. We always go, never miss a memorial. Always go to convention. But, they will miss a few meetings every now and then. But I started taking it seriously when I was 11. Um, my uncle's girlfriend was, very devout. So she started studying with me, and I really liked her. And I took it seriously. I I ended up living with them. So that's when actually her family were very, very active. So I ended up going to the meetings every week, always going preaching. So until I got baptized at the age of 14. So I got baptized at 14 years old. I I was so proud of myself. I thought this was the best decision I could ever make as a teenager. But through that process, all my life I was supposed to be moving to America to live with my parents, my actual parents. My mom didn't want me to get baptized at first because she thought I was so young. But I was like, to me, that was like well, I choose to serve Jehovah. You shouldn't tell me anything about it and this and that. Anyway, so I'm in Haiti. She's in America. Well, she can stop me. So I got baptized. And to them, it's like, hey, the kid take her decision. Let her take her decision. Let her make her decision. Um, a year later, the process for me to come to America worked out, and I moved to America to with my mom. My mom was not active at all. She was studying every now and then, but it never took like that. So, as a newly baptized, I came to the house, thinking I'm the witness, so I know better. I know this and that. Trying to encourage them to go to the meetings and stuff like that. That process was interesting because, as a witness, when you leave your town, you're always looking for your fellow brothers and sisters. And if you don't see them, you don't feel at home, you don't feel comfortable. So it was until I found there was a sister that was studying with my mom. She ended up coming over and she met me. And then I ended up going to the meeting with her in English, but I didn't understand nothing. I knew I did not want to stay there in that congregation because I was trying to follow the French Bible and English. It was a lot. It was hard. So a few weeks after, um, they end up that sister ended up, I guess, reaching out to the French congregation that was around, and that way I was able to go to the meetings with them with the French congregation that was in my area, in my territory. Um, so I moved to that congregation. The first time I met with the friends, I was happy. It was home. This is my brothers and sisters. So that congregation became home. And then um, I met a best friend there. We were so close. Um, it was home. I grew with that congregation. Um, and that's also a year later. That's why I met my husband. But meanwhile, I think a few years later, that congregation ended up splitting. But before that, I was young. Now I'm like 18, 19 years old, trying to. Now there's this brother in my congregation that likes me. We like each other. We're talking. Try to talk to the elders about it. We're too young. A whole drama. We were breaking up back and forth because the elders wanted us to not be together. We're too young. There was three things they would ask. Are you ready financially? Are you ready spiritually? Are you ready emotionally? There was another one I forgot. Financially, physically, emotionally, spiritually. So, of course, you're 19 years old, 19, 20 years old. We're not ready with all of that. But doesn't mean you can't talk or date. But, um, as you may know, foreign congregations, from my personal experience, like Haitian Creole congregations, they are more strict than an English congregation. Like English congregation, you'll find young ones are getting married at 18 years old, 19 years old, it's nothing. But for Haitian Creole congregations, it's a big deal. So they made a big deal out of that. Um, but eventually, it was a lot of stress about that, on and off, try to break up, because the definition for dating in the young people acts, if you talk to an opposite sex, you're dating. Yeah, so we'll kind of like, how you doing? And then how you doing? We'll go to, an hour, 2 hour talking. Then like, are we dating again? Then they would ask him, they would have him come to the back room in Haitian, if you know, the Tisham, in the back room almost every week to talk about it. They even asked me, they even have me one time, what are your spiritual goals? What are your goals and stuff? Is it dating right now? Anywho, so eventually I ended up breaking his heart because someone told me, like, this is like, I don't know why they did that. Like, sisters will ask you when you're young and stuff like that, they'll ask you, are you dating anybody and stuff like that? And then you'll tell them you are because they dig it out of you. Now they want to give you advice. So she put out a whole article to send to me about why you shouldn't date in secret. I'm like, it's not secret. Our family kind of know. It's just like, it's been a lot, so I don't think the brothers are ready for this yet, so that's why we don't tell them. And then this other brother told me, well, he's gonna lose his privileges because he's dating, he's an MS. And I was like this spiritual girl. So I'm like, I can't be the reason why a brother loses his privileges, So I broke up with him because of that, because I was like, I don't want to put you in trouble and stuff like that. It was harsh. Anywho, but that was after that congregation split up. My territory ended up going to the south. If you're familiar with Georgia, became the South French congregation, and then he stayed in Jonesboro, Georgia. So that kind of helped the breakup because we were in different congregations, but still, it was hard. because we kind of worked like we seemed to like kind of saw each other. Back to the story. We we're in different congregation. Then we got married. Now we're together. We got married. We're living together. 6 months into the marriage, we decided to go help where the need is great because that was our goal, and we wanted to start that. So I started pioneering. He was already a pioneer. I started pioneering, and then we moved. We went to help where the need is great, and we went to Poncos, Florida, in a small group, Haitian group. If you're familiar with that, what's up? But so I'm sure. um, so in Poncos, Florida, it was interesting. It was weird because we're in a English congregation and Creole group. So being from a Haitian Creole congregation, the hospitality that is in a foreign congregation like that is different from English. If you're familiar with it, you would know. If you're not, it's no offense. It's just how it is. People are more friendly because it's smaller. Everybody kind of know everyone, but the English is way bigger, so no one really know about anybody. So we spent like 6 months there. On the fourth, fifth month, people was like, "Oh, are you visiting?" No, I sit behind you. Anyway, um, it was a weird experience, but I will pay me. We didn't. It's nothing. There's difficulty in Jehovah's work, so you don't really pay attention to that. So, they were offering him to become an elder and all of that if we stayed in the group, but I wasn't happy, and the living situation was interesting. Was weird because we ended up renting a room from a brother, and he was not nice at all. I think these are what was kind of just like poking the wall, because like why we have such a weird and harsh experience helping when it is great, but people always talked about that. So we ended up moving back to Georgia because I had a Bible student that was having trouble. Because I had told her I wasn't gonna stay in Georgia and Florida anyway, so I kept the study we did over the phone. And then we had some family members that we were trying to encourage to become witnesses that were studying. So we're back in Georgia. While we were there, we're still doing like little help where the need was greater. They put us in a group that was like 30 minutes from where we stayed. That was who need greater. Everybody had like their group 10, 15 minutes from their house, but we're driving 30 minutes to go to a group on Saturday morning, and sometimes no one was in the group. So we also would visit different congregation. We also had, like, right after we got back, there was a need in Ashburn, Georgia, where they had Haitians that would come to work. They were treating them badly because they were taking advantage of them a lot. But as witnesses, we were happy. We were happy that they were there because we could preach to them, and because they were straight from Haiti, they are very hospitable. They're very welcoming. They want to listen to the truth. They want to listen to it. So we enjoyed that. We were talking to them all the time. Started studying with them, but the weird thing was we weren't supposed to show them if we have tablets or big phones because they're trying to get there too. Like, as witnesses, we don't help others to get up there. We want them to stay down because where they down, when they're in the bottom, they're always gonna need and they're always gonna have time to study. We want them to stay there. But if we help them to get back up, they won't have time because they're working. So messed up. So we would help Ashburn, Georgia, different, Tifton, different places like that where the Haitians were. So it was like 2 hours and a half from where we stayed. So we would take different trips with different like with car groups and stuff like that to go preach. And then after that, we visit different places like Gainesville, Mount Dora, Kansas City, North Carolina, just different places that he would have talks, and I would go with him, and we just visit different congregations because eventually we wanted to continue to go help where the need is greater again when things were possible, because that Bible student ended up getting baptized. So that other Bible family member ended up getting baptized too. So we're just like, okay, our work is done here. Let's go back in the field. Fast forward to 2019, the infamous year of 2019. Yes, woke up last year. So 2019 was the most we did as a witness. We did a lot. That year we planned a Bethel trip. That's when we were visiting a lot of different other congregations. Those congregations, we visit them. So things started in April. What started this right here that I woke up was we usually like watching a show or two together, and Hulu suggested a show for us. So guess what show Hulu suggested? The Cults and Extreme Beliefs. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. Yes. But be advised, it's a little rough. It's a little tough. Yes. You gotta mentally be prepared for it. I think it only mainly, like, what were we watching as a witness for Hulu to suggest us that? I think we were watching Handmaid's Tale. If you watch Handmaid's Tale, yeah. If you watch that, it has a lot of references in cults because it is basically a cult kind of thing. And also the name of the place is called Gilead. Anywho, because when we were watching, it was like, that's weird. Why is it Gilead? And they make reference about the Bible. It was weird. So I guess that's why Hulu was just like, hey, you might want to watch this. So we flipped into it and we looked, and the second episode was about Jehovah's Witnesses. We're like, what is Jehovah's Witnesses doing in cults and extreme beliefs? We're not extremists. We're not cults. What is this? But we're always, we always, as witnesses, we're always so chauffé, so just like ready to talk about other groups, thinking that they cults, but we're not. We always excuse ourselves from that. So we flip back and I'm just like, you know what? We're both going to end up watching it anyway. Let's not lie to ourselves. We're going to watch it separately. We might as well just watch it together. So we watched it together. Doing that in that story is dear lady Romy Maple. Man, it was sad. Like what she went through, and she's still an adult and still dealing with that. And I'm just like, that's a lot. Even as a witness, I was like, that's sad. But I was kind of like, maybe it's just a congregation she's in. Like, I don't think we have this going on like that. I don't think so. But I feel bad for her. But when she started talking to Barbara and all the cases they were talking there is, I was like, this is weird. Where is this coming from? Is this apostate material? What am I watching? I knew from that moment our lives gonna change because we have stepped in Satan's realm. Because is on me? No. it was hard to watch. It was a lot. And saying that she didn't say anything bad about the organization, but she was just speaking her truth. She didn't say anything bad about them. It's just her experience. She was sharing her experience. Um, it was sad. It was heartbreaking. So that was in April. We watched that, and I'm just like, oh, do you really think this is going on, babe? What's going on? Um, we went to sleep that night, very quiet, just like, what can you say after this? What can you say as a Pimi after this? Like, what were we doing in this episode anyway? Can't tell nobody we watched something like that for sure. So we, I think a few nights after, I was just like, are we not gonna talk about what we watched the other day? And then he was like, yeah, I've done some research about it and it's actually true. I was like, really? Okay. And in my head, I'm like, what are we gonna do with this information? What is there to do about it? What happened next after this? Now, there was a lot going on. Like I said, 2019 was the infamous year. We had a lot going on. My husband, he's the one that woke up first. After watching that video, he started to do some research himself, didn't share anything with me. And he also was, we also had international convention coming up. So I guess because international convention was in May or June, something like that. He was in a singing group to go perform in the Atlanta Zoo, some other places, but I got to go in the zoo performance. He would have to go every day to go practice. And I remember he was trying to learn the songs. He was learning all the songs. It was, it was just nice. Your husband is being so spiritual, learning so much. But despite all that, he was dealing with knowing all this information and not sharing anything with me because he couldn't. I was Pimi as Pimi can come, okay? If you know what Pimi means, it was like physically and mentally, and like this was it. Like I had just this view of the organization. I don't see anything else but that. Just this. So that was in April. Now, still, we watched the video in April. The international convention was in May, like I said, May or June. And no, June, we had the Bethel trip. So I organized the Bethel trip with another sister because I wanted my congregation to actually go to the Bethel. And the beginning of the plan, everybody's like, yeah, let's do it. And when the plan is down, just like everybody's like, I don't know, no. So we didn't have that many people from the congregation that went, but the other sister that I did it with, she combined like two congregations together and stuff like that. And we went, and it was a total of like 53 people, 53 in a bus. Went to all the Bethels in the United States, all the three, Patterson, Wallkill, Warwick, and we also went to the one in Canada. Throughout the Bethel trip, it was interesting being around witnesses, which you felt proud, But, as days pass by and people being hungry, you see true colors. It was interesting. But the tours was weird because they didn't show you as many places like that. They didn't show you as many. Everything was very discreet and whole back, and just like you can see this room, but you can see this part of the room. You can see the whole house, but you can see the living room of the house. It was weird. But to me, it was just like, I guess, but just like paying all this money, I thought I was gonna see so much more. Another thing that happened was, I think it was Warwick or Wallkill, the newest one. It's Warwick. Driving to Warwick, the memory of that video came to mind. If you've seen that video, Rami is driven to Bethel to give her letter, and they show you all the front, like the entrance and everything, the gate, and she didn't get in. They didn't come talk to her and stuff like that. That was kind of like, that was weird to me when I saw that. So why did nobody come and talk to her? So now I'm actually seeing what I saw in the video, and I thought about her. But it didn't stick to mind. As a witness, you can change things just like that. You can not change things. Like, there is something that you don't allow yourself. You become robotic, like. You don't allow yourself to feel. You can just like, oh, okay, I'll just think of the paradise. I'll just think of something else. We don't allow ourselves to actually feel the feelings. We're just quickly able to move on to something else. It's like, oh, we're in Bethel, we're in Jehovah's house. Let's just think about that instead. So, Bethel week is over. It was the length of a whole week, like 7 days trip. Because coming from Georgia to New York and then to Canada. So that was a lot. The weekend after, so I think we came back on Sunday. On Monday, my husband had elder school. Throughout all of that, during Bethel, he's waking up little by little. And before that, right before Bethel, like I think in May or June, he decided to go to school. He decided he's going back to school. It was a lot of fight. It was like, because, that wasn't the goal. We have the goal to go to Pioneer, to go help with English grade, and to eventually go to SKE school. Now he wants to go to school. So I'm like, where do SKE come from? Like, where do we put SKE if you're going to school? He gave me some kind of excuse like, yeah, I'm going to just learn it in SKE just a few months, and then I'm going to still be able to work on the thing I choose to work on. I was like, okay. So I was still kept, I kind of just like accept him going to school. But that was a lot of fight before that because I did not believe in going back to school. Me, myself, I stopped going to school after my associate degree to Pioneer. So, he's in Bethel. All he's talking about is school, is going to school, taking classes. He didn't even take classes yet. He's preparing himself before he takes the classes, practicing his math skills. And I was just like, whatever. Like, why is he focused on this? We're in Bethel. We're doing Bethel trip. Why is he focused on that? Why is he not enjoying the trip? We're in Jehovah's house. All of that. It was weird to me. But don't question him too much because he's here. And I was just happy he's. So, but he's dropping little hints that I don't even pay attention much to, or asking different questions that makes me think. But I kind of just like, I give an answer. But there's a lot of things I don't remember anyway. But I'll kind of just like, can you kind of just focus on the trip? Can we talk about spiritual stuff? A normal peewee, yes. That's what we were. Excuse me. I gotta eat because there's a lot of talking. So eventually, we're going back to after Bethel, he has elder school. Elder school is what did it for him. He was already waking up. I don't remember when, but he's petty. He bought himself a Macallan. And he told me that he's buying himself a gift. And he got himself a Michelin. If you know about the bottle gate, then you know. And I was like, okay, you drank now? He was like, no, I'm just gifting myself something special. I was like, okay, nice. But it was to kind of just say, okay, I'm done with this. And I didn't even understand what's going on. But so he's going to Bethel school, to elder school. The things they're talking about were just crazy to him. And he would come back home and talk to me about them. And like he would ask me questions, and I'm like, "Is that answer? Is this? Is that?" And he's like, "No." For example, the one about who is our mediator. To me, I was like, "Yeah, Jesus is our mediator. It's Jesus." He's like, "No, it's the one 444,000, and they basically kind of our mediator." I was like, "What? That's not what we learned." He's like, "Yeah." And I went and did research on that, and just like it was like a bunch of pages, a whole article about that. Like it's like, you know, when you say a bunch of nothing just to answer one simple question, that's what those articles were like. By the time you finish reading the article, you're like, okay, what was the answer I was looking for? So it was like I never fully got the answer on there, but it also kind of did not say Jesus was the mediator. It was weird. It was weird. So I was like, okay. So that was one of the first questions. Then he also asked me, what about the when was Jerusalem destroyed? Between 587 or 606, something like that. I don't remember this stuff anymore because now it's been a year and I just kind of just I'm done. I'm done. I did research on that, but all the research I did was on JW.org. Nothing outside. Oh no, I would never dare to do something like that. These crazy apostates say a lot of stuff. No, mm-mm. That's what I thought. That's what I was taught, and that's what I believed. So every now and then, he'll always try to pick something to start talking with. And the witnesses don't really like arguments like that. They don't really like to go in depth with Bible discussions like that. That's why if you're studying, a person like to discuss, you kind of just like, not everybody like that. You'll find there'll be that one brother that like to do discussions, and all the sisters will return visit to that brother. But nobody really like that because it's questions we don't have answers to. I'm not gonna lie to you, that was me. So, he was just saying how not Bethel, Elder School was weird. I'm just like, okay, I don't know. I mean, I'm like, really? Like, I'm just okay, yeah. And then just let it go to the other ear. Don't pay attention too much. But as days go by, now we in August. I remember the first week of August, I had convention. We had our own convention. And I think before he went to convention, he started talking about something like he's not interested with being a witness because he would be so busy doing convention, doing some kind of assignment, and he was just doing it because his name is on there. He can't pull back, but he doesn't really care much for it. That was breaking my heart a lot. And I remember I went with two of my best friends, with that one Bible student that I had came back to Georgia and one of the friends that I had met when I first came to America in the French congregation. So they became my best friends. I remember crying to them in the car, but I never told them what's going on. I just cried. and I'm going to convention acting like everything is okay. Now at this point I know my husband is waking up. I didn't know that I was waking up. He's questioning things and he has doubts. And there's nothing I can do about it. I'm trying to encourage him. I'm trying to keep him in there, but he's falling deep. So he eventually kept questioning things. Now he's skipping meetings. He doesn't want to go to the meetings anymore. And that started to break my heart because sometimes I have to give excuses for him. You know, if he would have some kind of assignment, he is an elder now at this point. You know, I don't remember, but yeah, he has been elder for a year now. He always has some kind of assignment for the meeting at the meeting. He's questioning things. He's skipping meetings. I'm trying to give excuses for him, but there's so long I can do. I was just like, after a while, I'm not giving any more excuses for you. You need to come to the meeting, and you need to talk to your people, because his parents were at the same congregation too. Now I'm starting to question things because the stuff he asked me to question, like 1914, 587, the mediator. Now I'm questioning things. I'm like, okay, why they don't make sense? What's going on? Why are they changing? Why they change their words? Why is it? What's going on? What's going on? Something's not right. And plus, the whole case about Romy Maple. All of this in my head, I'm just like, okay, what's going on? I'm also curious. I've been pushing it too far. I've been pushing it away to not question things. Now I can't keep pushing away anymore. So eventually he kept telling me to do research. He's like, you need to do some research. You need to do research. You need to look into things. I was like, okay. After a while, because I would try to use the Bible, and there's some stuff you can't use the Bible to justify anything like that. You can't use the Bible to justify 1914. Where do we come with that number? I couldn't. I ended up confiding in my best friend A. She listened to me. I cried. She tried to give me encouragement, saying that he may not stay like that. He might come back. But I know deep inside, I was just like, there was no way he's coming back. He's deep now. He's getting deep. And then some nights I will go to sleep. He'll talk about some stuff about the organization. Now he's just talking stuff that just not okay for me to hear anymore. And one night he said that we are in a cult. And that did it for me. I was like, I lost them. The husband that I married, that I thought I was so spiritual, that I was planning to go to SKE with, it's done. It's gone. There's none of that anymore. I need to stop adjusting my goals or leave him. But, we always thought, because that was the only thing when we talked, when we dated, when we married, we would ask each other what would be the reason for us to leave each other. And we were just like, if you leave Jehovah. Now he's leaving Jehovah. What do I do? And he's not being a bad husband. It was so conflicting. I didn't have any reason to leave him. So I'm like, I'm not going to leave him. I'm not going to tell the elders on him. Because I know if I told the elders on him, what would happen? I knew they would disfellowship him. He would not have relationship with his family. And I would be filled with the pittiness from everyone because my husband is not apostate now. I did not want any of that. So I kept it to myself and trying to deal with it every day. trying to put a face and going to the meeting and smiling and making comments. He's not commenting anymore. But he goes and he's in the Kingdom Hall just doing his other things, but he's going. Someday he's not. But I did not want to keep giving excuses for him. So doing all that, before that, we were gonna go back to help where it is great. We had wrote Bethel to go help somewhere. Bethel wrote us back and they sent us to New York. So we were like, we don't want to go to New York because he can't really do his job. But the brother was just like, oh, well, you shouldn't tell Bethel that you can't work because they're gonna think you're coming for your job. Is Bethel gonna pay my bills? Anywho, it was just that. As they paid me, I was like, okay, we're not going as missionaries. We still need a job. What do you mean? They're like, well, just say it differently. Don't tell them it's a job. So we write the letter. So by the time we would write the letter and all of that, I think that was like shortly after we left Bethel, from visiting Bethel. He wasn't fully awake yet because we actually took the time to write the letter. But by the time the letter came back, that's when we were just like, okay, we're just gonna travel. So we had planned we're gonna travel. And that was by then, it's like September. And he's fully awake. He said he's not doing this anymore. But he's trying to go to the meetings because in November, we had planned to leave Georgia to go to, we were going to go help where they need is great. Now, we're just going to travel on our own, just getting out of Georgia. And that also was like a way for him to be able to be awake, be inactive, and for me to not deal with everybody, all the embarrassment. We decided we're gonna leave. So now we're in September, and I'm just like, you just have a month, 2 months to just stick to this. Just please go to the meetings, face them, because I cannot do this. I can't do it. He tried. Now, I'm questioning things based on the things he would talk to me every now and then, whenever he could. Now I can't have discussions with him because I don't have proof. I don't have ways to answer him. He's supposed to be the head of the household. He's supposed to be the elder. He's the elder. He has those answers. I don't have all these answers. Now I'm trying to justify things to him. Meanwhile, my answers are not making sense. So he kept telling me to do research. I didn't want to at first. Eventually, I was like, okay, fine. But before that, he showed me a video about the Australian Royal Commission, ARC, where they have Brother Jackson talking to a lawyer about a case where they have like 500 or 600 cases of kids that were molested and it wasn't reported. I was like, nah, there is no way it's that many. Like, what have we been doing? Why that many? Like, I get it, there's a few congregations. I was like, nah, you're lying. He showed me the video and I'm like, is this how far apostates are going with things now? Like, this is how far they're going? Can't believe it. And then I looked at the video. I'm like, wait, this is not a fake video. This is actually Jackson talking. What is this? I'm in disbelief at this point. I saw Romi's situation. I know that was harsh. Now you're telling me there's hundreds out there, and that was just in Australia by itself, not counting the United States, not counting Haiti, which I know for sure things like that are going rampant in Haiti. And I remember, I think it was in the video with Romy, where they had mentioned one of the brother Bo or Brodo, whatever his name is. He was like, "We will never change the principles about um one two, like, the rules where you have to have a witness, one witness rule. Who has witnesses while they're getting molested?" Anyway, that was just too much for me. That was a lot for me, and I was just like, okay, this is getting a lot. Like, either my husband is going crazy, or the apostates are lying too much, they're going crazy, or this is true. But if it is true, we're doomed. This is bad. If it's true, it's bad. Because why am I going to doors when I'm hiding molesters? When I'm hiding pedophiles in my congregation? When the kids that sit behind me, or the kids from the sister or that brother, those kids are not safe. Or they may be victims. But I'm going out there bringing more people in with their kids. And I know it's not safe. So, well, that bothered my conscience. This is not okay. This is not okay. I'm not okay with this at all. So, I started waking up. I actually went on GW Facts, finding answers. Once I took time and I watched that video with Brother Jackson. I sent it to one of my friends because I started talking to her about it. She was like, okay, why? She would ask me some weird questions, but I know I shouldn't have shared them with her. But I'm freaking out at this point. And then I actually went on YouTube. One of the very first video I watched was Totally Awake. This lady was talking about why she left and how she watched that same video and how Jackson was just like, that would be presumptuous when we're stupid enough to believe that. You guys are. Anyway. And she repeated basically everything that she saw from the video, and I'm like, okay, this is weird. Why is there more than one people know about this? Like, these people know about this? Then I watched the Irregular Pioneer, this young elder that left with all his family. I watched XJW Fifth. I had the honor to talk to him on Instagram for a second. And John Cedars had all the information that was needed. So thank you guys. And another one was Angelina Rivera. Her story was very similar to mine because she was a pioneer. She didn't do anything wrong. She just saw those information as well. So I'm like, okay, well, this is real. This is real. Now I'm freaking out. I'm freaking out. I actually now fully talk to friend B. Friend B was like, you should talk to friend A because friend A is more close and stuff like that. So I talked to them and they're looking at me like, anyways, they're like, I don't know. But they listen. They listen a lot to me. And I think that's what kind of got me more. Like, the fact that they listen, I spill my guts to them. And the hope that they can actually understand or see things as well, because this is crazy. This is not okay. And so eventually, with my husband, before I talked to my friends, I couldn't handle the conflict me and my husband was having. It was getting worse. I told him that he gotta talk to his family. So I went and talked to his younger sister. She was trying to listen. I kind of put it on me because people could tell that now something's going on with you. What's going on with y'all? Um, I opened up to her. Then she made plans to talk to him. She ended up talking to him. Now she had doubts as well. And then we ended up talking to his other sister because now we know that he's gonna get disfellowshipped. But he's trying to see if his older sister gonna talk to him still. Before that, his sister was like, "Oh, so you in it too? What's going on?" Because we're trying to make answer things. And then the younger sister ended up talking to her best friend. So now after like a few weeks or so, about everybody was awake. And my sister, who was never really fully in, but she would always go to the meetings. So in total, that's like about 5, 6 of us. So me, my husband, his older sister, his younger sister, my sister, and her best friend. So about 6 of us now awake. So 6. So we're all kind of awake, but we're still trying to go to the meetings. And we would go to the meetings, and there's some things we'd have to get up because we could not do it. Or I would go and check on one of them. Now we all kind of sit together. I'll go check on one of them, and the other one is probably crying in the kingdom hall. Just couldn't handle it. But as I'm saying that, my heart goes out to you PMOs, that people that still having to go to the meetings despite everything, despite knowing everything. The things these people be saying in the meetings, when your perspective is changed, or you awake, it's mind-boggling. It's impossible to handle it. So my heart goes out to you. Mm-hmm. Yes, because I don't know how you do it. I don't know. I was doing it for like 2, 3 months. It was impossible. So now it is October. They decided they were going to talk to the parents. And I could tell while we're talking to his mom, she was just like, "Why do I have all these apostates in my house right now? I can't listen to this right now. I cannot." Because you cannot allow yourself to think for a second that I may be wrong. And as witnesses, we think we are humble. We are so far from that. You cannot be humble when you think your religion is better than everybody else. You cannot be humble when you think you will be saved. Your religion will be saved, everybody else will be destroyed. That's not humbleness. That's not. No, no. But you gotta literally sit down and accept that you've been wrong. You've been living a lie. And that was hard for me to accept. I was crying every day, knowing that I'm going to lose everybody that I've known, all the friends that I made, all these years. Got baptized since I was 14 years old, thinking that this was it, that I've been wrong. It was the hardest truth to accept. The hardest. But knowing that I wasn't alone was very helpful. I find the XGW community. My husband introduced me to that because he was posting things. Since April, he was waking up. It was hard. It was so hard. And no, if you're thinking like that, you are not crazy. You're not going crazy. It's hard. It hurts so much. So we talked to his parents, and his mom was like, okay, I gotta talk to somebody about this. So, it's a lot. So she went and shared it to one of her sisters. Her sister's, mind you, is in the north, is all the way up north, near New York and them. She's in Georgia. She called the sister and talked to her on the phone, right? Within a week, not even a week. That sister, thinking that, she's so spiritual, she's helping. She didn't call her nephew to be like, what's going on. She called an elder from another congregation in Georgia. That elder called the elders from our congregation. And boom, just like this. This thing, we're keeping a secret just together as a family, is now in the hands of the elders. Bon. So we talked to so now everything is done, we're awake. I accept that I'm gonna be awake. I'm gonna become inactive, but I'm gonna still be a witness because that's all I know, that's all I believed in. So we decided to leave, and it was the last week of being in Georgia. The last meeting we had on Friday. We had meetings on Friday. We're saying goodbye to everyone. Keep the face and just the love is still there. We didn't do anything wrong, but it's just that we're awake now. We're not gonna stay witnesses. I know I was staying witnesses. I'm gonna be inactive, but I must still go to my meetings because this is the truth. This is the only organization I know. That same Friday, the elders got him and they brought him into the back room to talk to him. And just like that, they started talking to him about things that he found out and all of that. Now they know. So eventually, it took like an hour or so in the room. While I'm trying to say goodbye to everybody, my best friend A kind of know now. Best friend B kind of just didn't really. I wasn't as close to best friend B. She was a much close friend, like a sister to me. But friend A was the closest friend. Crying and stuff like that. I'm not crying because I'm like, I'm not leaving. I'm just aware of stuff. And I'm not okay with them. But I'm still going to be a witness. But I think she knew I was going to get this fellowship eventually. I don't know. But I didn't do anything. So they talked to him. And the next day, we're leaving for Missouri. I'm going to cut it here because things shifted from there quickly. Yes, it got worse. There will be a part 2. So part 2, hold on for part 2. And if you watch this far, thank you. Subscribe because I'm going to make some more videos about this stuff. Thank you for watching this far. See you in the next video.